Well, hi. We're going to talk about the little contrast, or some contrast we can find in nouns between Spanish and English. First, noun. What a noun is? A noun is a word that stands for something, for an object or a thought or a feeling or something. Well, nouns. Nouns comes from the Latin word substantive. That's another word to call it, but they are commonly called as nouns. We can divide these differences into two big categories. There are morphology and syntax. Talking about morphology, first we can talk about this big group that is gender. We can say without no doubts that genders are masculine and feminine, and we all agree on that. But we have to think, is there a neutral gender? Does it exist? Well, we can say that in English it does exist, because most of words in English lack of gender. It's hard to know. It's impossible to know the femininity or the masculinity there is in a table, or in a book, or in a flower, for instance. Then, we cannot say that words in English have gender. Well, most of them. But in Spanish, we must realize that all words, all nouns, more properly, have gender. Even things that have not even a clue of masculinity or femininity in them. This is called orthographic gender, and it is used just to determine the modifiers that surrounds the noun. Talking about masculine and feminine, when do we know that they are really masculine or feminine? When they are sexed living beings. For instance, we can clearly say that horse and mare is masculine and feminine correspondingly. In Spanish, caballo y yegua. That it's extremely clear. We have to make some clarification. In English, we have this that is called politically correct language. So some words that were used to this difference, like actor and actress, have changed in order to include all the people and avoid rejection. So these two words have changed into performer or entertainer. The same have happened with waiter or waitress. We have no longer these words, we say server. So politically correct language. In Spanish, we have some funny thing, because we can, as in English, change from masculine to feminine just by adding some characteristics. We have here a little example of these rules. For instance, we just add an a at the end, and we have doctor, that is the masculine, and then doctora, which is the feminine. And we have the tris, termination. We have these examples that actor and emperador, which are masculine, turns into actriz y emperatriz. Sorry there, I forgot I put an S and it wasn't Z. I'm so sorry. Anyway, remember, sex living beings are the only ones who have really masculine or feminine gender. That's pretty much all we can say about gender. There might be a little another differences, but this is a general overview. Then, again, talking about morphology, we can talk about the categories of nouns. Nouns can be proper or common. Proper when they talk about specific names of things or people or places. For instance, David, Montreal, Canada, United States of America, Isabel, or Pachito. We also have common nouns that are used to name the other existing things. We have table, we have cap, we have book, we have silla, for instance in Spanish, or computador. Those are common nouns. We also have these characteristics that are concrete and abstract nouns. Concrete nouns talk about things that you can perceive with your senses, things you can touch, things you can smell, see, feel. And abstract are those things like feelings, like thoughts that you cannot actually perceive by your senses. We have also compound and simple nouns. This is pretty easy. Compounds are those nouns that have two words put in together and means a different thing. For instance, toothpaste. And we also have simples, that are those nouns that is only one word, then it's very easy to know. Then we have collective and single nouns. Collective nouns are those that it stands for a group, an amount of people or things. And single, the ones that only name or stands for one. So the words, the categories, they stay the same in Spanish and in English. Here we're going to make some little examples. We have Eduardo, airplane, herd, yuca, and cosiac, which are which are nouns that we can put into those categories. Let's go, for instance, with Eduardo. Eduardo is a proper noun because it's the name of a person. It is concrete because we can perceive, we can touch, we can feel, we can smell the person. It is simple because it's only one word. It is single because it refers only to one object. Then, what if we talk about cosiac? This is a very funny word used in Colombian Spanish and can refer to anything. And then if we think about that word, it will be hard to put it into a specific category because it can be proper, can be common, can be concrete, abstract, compound, simple, collective, or single. Anyway, there are words that are such a mess. Going again, morphology. It brings us number, the number of nouns. We can say that nouns are divided into countable and uncountable nouns. And, of course, singular and plural, obviously, but this is not like the most important thing. We have to know that we have this general rule. We are not going to go deep into the specific rules, that just by adding an s we have the plural of nouns. That's a general rule. We have that, for instance, manzana and apple, or the singulars, and then we have manzanas and apples as their plural. That is okay. But here is where uncountable and countable nouns goes in. We can pluralize countable nouns because they can be plural. I mean, you can count it into, doesn't matter the quantity of them. But uncountable you cannot in English, but in Spanish you can. For instance, we have this little example that is very clarifying. We have amor and amores, because we can say amores, but then we have in English love, but we cannot say loves as a noun because it doesn't exist. It doesn't make sense because English is a determinate language, so you have to determinate things clearly. That's why it is hard. That's what we could say about number. We also have the other side of nouns, that is syntax. Syntax. What is syntax? The functions that the words do. Talking about nouns, in English, a noun can be a verb, a subject, an object, and an adjective. In Spanish, not that much. It only can be a subject or an object, because, well, Spanish goes short in that specific topic. Here we have some examples of nouns in English working as any of those I said. We have they milk the cow. There we have milk, that is a noun that stands for a thing, working as a verb. We have ice cold beer, when ice is modifying, is being the adjective of cold, given the characteristic of that adjective. And there we have cats love dogs. Not pretty real, but anyway, there we can say that noun is a subject in cats and it's an object in dogs. So remember, in English can be verb, subject, object, and adjective, and in Spanish only subject and object. We are going to give you some extra little syntax. We can say that nouns work into clauses. They are in clauses, they can be placed in any clauses, and they work well in there. There's another interesting thing, that they can be replaced by pronouns. That's what pronouns do. It stands for a noun. And this, that is pretty interesting, is that they are the nucleus of the noun clauses. How does it affect us? We have this thing. In Spanish, as they are the nucleus, they modify all the surrounding particles. All the modifiers around the noun has to accord with the noun in gender and number. As we have here, carro is the noun, and because of that, the article and the adjective have to make an agreement in number and gender. Then we have el hermoso carro, and as in casa there is a feminine noun and singular too. There, the article and the subject, and the adjective makes a change. Then we have la famosa casa. Funny thing is that English doesn't. The noun does not modify the surrounding particles. It can be plural, it can be singular, it can be masculine, it can be feminine, but the modifiers will stay the same. They can be articles, they can be adjectives, and they will stay the same, as we have here: the tall, good-looking doctor and an amazing and talented actress. The gender does not affect the adjective or the article. Well, there was a little overview of the differences from nouns in Spanish and English. This was Esteban Rios Bedoya who was talking to you, thanks to this contrastive grammar course at the University of Antioquia in the School of Languages. These are my references where I took this information from. You can take a look at them, and well, good night. Thank you for hearing me. Bye.